champ select, and the big gamble for CJ, putting all on Trick.
Trick or treat.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Is it Halloween? Okay, so Shen, Callista, Nidalee, bans coming in fast. The Nidalee ban once again. We saw it against Trick in Game 1. Now, Ambition also a Nidalee player to a certain degree, certainly not his priority.
And does Rise escape the bans once again? Of course, the Rise was on the losing side in the previous game. Soul himself had a tough time in lane and then was well dealt with in team fights. It's just, do you leave a ticking time bomb out on the field and then get surprised if it blows up in your face?
You got to defuse it fast, Papa Smithy.
I mean, the easy way to defuse it's right here, right now. Span it.
Span it out. Don't let him play it.
And what else is really in contention?
Ezreal.
That's
Ezreal's
true.
up this game.
And this is Sarsen, of course, noted mid-Ezreal player. Do you lock it in first pick? It feels like if you don't, Coco's going to take it.
I think you do take it right now if you're CJ Entis, but they like that Rek'Sai or the Azir, and Azir does have that good laning phase against the Runeglaive Ezreal too. So there is that potential to go for it. We could see the jungle Echo.
That's what we've been hoping for, hoping and praying for. Echo does a lot of interesting things, but with Kog'Maw's win rate only being enhanced today after a win last game, man, the priority of Kog'Maw's gone up and up. But if you keep answering with Corki, it's going to keep winning.
Yeah. That's about all you can say, right, is that if you give Kog'Maw that winning laning phase, then there's not really a downside to picking the Kog'Maw unless you have some pretty nasty backline flank. And also, Kog'Maw's rise has kind of coincided with the decrease of Hecarim use, which actually would be a viable way to deal with it. But Hecarim's laning phase and the fact that he's so item dependent have made him much less attractive. They're just going to take the Maokai so they can have the Kog'Maw for free.
I was going to think, with Cinderhulk top lane is falling out the meta, which top laner exists that is a realistic threat to Kog'Maw that's in the meta? It's the Maokai, and they actually just lock it in with it. Now, this does give up the AP Ezreal 2-0 on this champion. Hard to cherry-pick winning win rates in terms of champion picks for Spenu. Of course, they haven't done a lot of winning. This is definitely one of them.
Yeah, and most of Spenu's wins have been Sarsen hard carrying the team, which he can do on a champion with so much poke and damage like this Runeglaive Ezreal. No one has had that answer.
I want to see something interesting here. They're flashing some interesting champions. Of course, the Blitzcrank, just a shout out to Mad Life. But
all right, Coco, play Vel'Koz into it. Be the ultimate BM pick. That's what I want.
Do you flex the Echo?
Echo?
Yeah, they're flexing the Echo as well.
So they grab the Braum. Now, here's what I don't like about Spenu's draft. If you want to take Ezreal in that round, you also take the Braum. I think you just give it up because taking the Braum denies the fact that CJ has an ability to play against you.
Thinking about Corki, please no. For one, opting into a 2v2 against a Braum, not happy days for Corki. So easy to block that Phosphorus Bomb with the Unbreakable, and we just talked about the fact that the lane matchup, it's horrible, so I don't know.
I like it when teams take the Braum in conjunction with the Ezreal. Otherwise, you just give people too many tools to deal with it. We haven't even seen the mid lane yet, so, and we've seen also Anarchy try and flash that Yasuo to dissuade any kind of Ezreal mid usage.
I'd be very excited to see the Olaf that we've been kind of hoping and praying for. I mean, Smite Teleport Olaf was kind of a whisper in the wind a few patches ago, but never saw it, at least in Champions. And look at that last bit. They certainly did flex the Echo, as Twisted Fate from Coco is the answer.
Well, I don't think Echo is really mid-viable on this patch. It did lose a lot of its actual assassin power with the nerfs. So you're playing it mostly for utility these days, and the fact that you still have damage even though you don't have to build AP with your passive. So the frontline threat is, I mean, they have so much tankiness in the front here and so much zone control, CJ does, and they have the ability to make plays onto 2 lanes with crowd control with TF. That is pretty brutal.
Ambition is going to be sitting in the back and being envious of the lanes that Trick has to gank, because what do you want if you're an Echo and you're ganking lanes? You want CC targeted in the lanes. Twisted Fate, Maokai both having targeted CC. Oh, you just throw out the parallel convergence. It's so easy. It's point and click almost, and then the kills start coming.
I really like this team composition.
It's
CJ.
excellent. I was going to say,
really, really good.
This is, for a red side draft, beautiful.
Yeah, just saving the TF until the end, too. They have a way to block a lot of APS's damage with that Unbreakable from Mad Life. There's the poke. It's very easy to itemize MR here for CJ with these mega tanks in the front line, and they have so many just ganking options, so many engage options, so many kiting options with how many zones they can control at one time. This is CJ. This is a totally meta comp with the rise of TF, and we are going to get in the game. We'll see how CJ can play it out.
Just licking my lips at the deliciousness of this team comp, Monte Cristo.
Honestly, he's getting excited when he should be shutting up.
Have you seen what CJ has put together on this red
I know,
side?
it's beautiful. It is really, really good.
So Spenu, they've got the Rune Glaive Ezreal. It's 5.12, only probably for today. We don't have 100% confirmation, but expecting 5.13 next week. Can Sarsen do it again? Because, man, I was going to say the odds are stacked against him. I saw the Twisted Fate, but I'm still going to say it. It's a hard game for Ezreal to win.
Yes. Yes, it is. There would have to be a lot of mistakes here for Ezreal to actually get into a place of crazy power. Because TF, we talk about this Ezreal, he just doesn't have the wave clear. And this is going to open up Coco so hard to roaming around the map. I mean, Catch basically has to be a warding god here to actually try and suss out where and when this TF is going somewhere. Coco has the freedom to take the Ghost in this matchup too. Doesn't have to be worried about having to take Cleanse at all. This is an excellent situation for CJ Entus. Not to mention the last time Coco played this TF, he played it against Jinair and he dominated that game. If he didn't have a just incredible game, they would have lost. So we know he can put up on the TF.
And we knew that was a game where he needed kind of a faker level carry to make things work. As you mentioned, they were quite far in the hole that game. You look down their comp and their win conditions and just the strength of the lanes they've picked, he doesn't need that sort of a performance. If he just goes even, you know, shows up with a couple of stuns to amplify the CC already in lanes. Again, jungler's paradise for Trick, though. This is maybe the real acid test for Trick when it comes to being a top-level competitive jungler, because he's got wonderful games to game for.
Yeah, he does, and he also has the luxury of not having to gank at all, though. It's a pretty easy game to jungle if you're Trick, because you could just let Coco do all the heavy lifting and farm if you need to. You can even just cover for Coco's lane while he's TPing. There's not a lot here. If he doesn't want to make plays, he certainly doesn't have to.
So we've got very excited, even during the break, about good old CJ's draft. What does Spenu have, and how do they at least put themselves within a position to at least make it competitive? It feels like, you know, with the Rumble, can they try and force something around Dragon earlier? They have the Rune Glaive Ezreal, so they have 2 smites, but the wave control, as you mentioned, is going to be tough.
It's going to be so hard. Well, Trick is actually starting on top side jungle and going down to bottom, so the Rumble will have some freedom to push up. They're going to go for an invade right now onto the blue buff. I'm not sure about this one. Parallel Convergence is going to come down. Trick only level 2, throws out the Time Winder. Uh-oh. Secret has to use Pulve, and he's going to headbutt Trick over to Catch. There's the exhaust. It's already out. Coco has the first right of response here. Space also coming in. Catch is down. And Secret actually picking up that kill.
Doesn't look like it's done.
That was just a terrible idea. And they're going to miss the Winter's Bite, but they got one more auto for the stun, and Coco will pick it up with a stacked deck. Wow. Not sure why you would invade that blue buff when you do not have control over the mid lane. Certainly they had control over the bottom side, but MadLife showed up awful quick, and Coco has that. He has CC in the early game, and Ezreal's got Jack Diddley.
He's got a smite. That's pretty useful.
Yeah, you go ahead, smite some champions, you know.
Yeah, the big issue there was that you could see it on the minimap. Nuclear was going to get to the trade much faster. Big issue. Ghost, Flash, Twisted Fate with CC. I mean, you need to communicate if you're the mid laner or whoever's making the shot call that there's no way that Ezreal, I mean, he still has his Flash up, but there's no way he can impact in any way a skirmish compared to a level 3 Twisted Fate.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's not in his kit.
No, it's not in his kit. And also, summoner spells are so important in the early game before you have any items. That's such a determining factor between how a lot of these matchups go. And Looks like the first blue buff of the game is actually going to be handed to Sasin, so they really want all their eggs are in the Sasin basket now. With how that jungle has gone, and the fact that Coco has that kill, Sasin needs to have as much mana as possible just to push out and not lose a ton of CS to the turret.
And just stay in lane now, probably till he finishes his Rune Glaive. It's probably going to be a very big first purchase when he finally gets to it. I really love the fact that Brom's been coming back into the meta. This is a champion who got the buff on the Q, so of course his laning phase and the pressure is a lot higher, but he also fits the meta. He's excellent against poke champions. If you can just use that Unbreakable, if you get the AP Ezreal ultimate, my goodness, it's a one-team fight.
Yeah, so much damage blocked. You're talking about negating about 800,000 damage late in the game, so you can absolutely turn things around if that was going to AoE your team.
But laning phase against Corki, wonderful. Team fight against AP Ezreal, wonderful. Brom used to be pigeonholed into counter engage, but he does so much this game, man. I was going to take a turret shot. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Still was able just to hop to a minion to get out. Still end up on the worst side of that trade, but not that big of a deal right now. Still has biscuits to spare.
Most nutritious biscuits in the league.
They're the only ones, though, so.
That's true. We need more biscuits. So where do you fall on the biscuits and cookie argument?
Cookies.
All right. What
I'm
sort of
American.
cookies?
I'm American.
Okay, but what sort of cookies we talking?
Oh man. I only really like homemade cookies.
Okay, but what's in this homemade cookie?
I'm pretty standard. I like oatmeal, chocolate chip, you know. Nothing too crazy. Don't like white chocolate. It's too sweet.
Is that just a standard rule or white chocolate cookies?
White chocolate in general.
Fair enough.
Too sweet. I'm more of a dark chocolate kind of guy,
you know? I kind of guessed that about you.
Especially with sea salt. That's lovely. Bittersweet with sea salt. That's where it's at. Nothing too sweet. I don't have much of a sweet tooth. You do, though. You love candy.
I do love candy. Kind of with you on the white chocolate, though. That was more of a kid passion. You know, the Milky Bar back in Australia, very tasty. White chocolate. But nowadays, yeah, the chocolate chip, I think, pretty stock standard myself.
Not too crazy in terms of your...
I mean, the M&Ms from Subway, maybe. You know? That's probably as far as I'll push it on the sweet tooth.
I really like M&Ms, honestly.
Well, at least now I know I don't have to share them with you. You know? That's a good thing. I know what cookies to buy.
That's great. I'm glad if you can find good cookies in Korea. They're not really big here. Okay, well, Ketch just going to get out of the mid lane as Coco and Mad Life coordinate their pink ward clearage. Plus, you call them biscuits. I mean, come on.
I call them Tim Tams, but that's a bit more specific, very Australian. Needed a shout out to Tim Tams. Wonderful biscuits.
Get out of here with your British words.
Do you say soda or pop?
Soda. Pop is very Midwestern in America.
These are the lessons I need to know. You know, I don't know much about America.
Doa would say pop. He's from
Do you
Minnesota.
think he'd really... I've never seen him order a pop.
I think he's probably learned from being outside of the Midwest. But that's definitely super Midwestern to say that.
I usually just say a Coke, and it kind of means Pepsi and Coke. Yeah.
That means Coke has won the branding war, Papa Smithy.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Do you just let Coke win?
I'm mainstream. Coke, Nike, give it to me. I love it. Coco doing the standard Twist of Fate thing, just stepping out of lane, running the same skin that Messiah was famous for, so trying to see some big Twist of Fate plays. Hasn't needed to. I mean, his first play was actually pre-Destiny. How often do we say that? It wasn't even the first Destiny, but it was the first use of Summoners that kind of won them the early game.
Yeah, and now they have both of them back up, so the timing is right. The blue card's Ezreal right in his face. You deserve that, Ezreal. You are broken right now. Get out of this game.
Oh, don't worry. Riot's well on top of it.
I will say what's nice about the Runeglaive Ezreal is at least there are ways to deal with him, right?
Sure.
It's not like you can just pick him and he's powerful at all phases of the game. There is counterplay available, but it has definitely shaped the meta of this patch as to how you draft, because you have to have that in the back of your mind if you're not going to just outright ban him. With a number of other power picks, it becomes difficult to do that.
And for all a hype of kind of free win or massively overpowered, which probably was a bit justified against Rise a couple of patches ago, people have worked around the Ezreal surprisingly well. Maybe that's just the amazing minds of champions, but people have come up with multiple different strategies to shut down this mid lane Ezreal.
Yeah. Still bad, though. I mean, it's not. I mean, the worst that I've seen in competitive play was Zach. That was terrible. As we see, Catch not going to get the stun onto him from the concussive blows, but a little bit of damage. But that will wrap up the blue buff. No way they can contest this now. Trick and Mad Life with the engage. And, you know, Trick really looking a lot more on point when he's got somebody else to shot call in this game, one would assume.
I mean, once again, Jungler's Paradise. You cannot use Overstate. Maokai and Twisted Fate to gank for both targeted CC. One of them even ranged for an Echo. We haven't seen that lane pressure, but 1-0-1 from the earlier scraps. If you're not feeling hyped up on power, when you've got Mad Life roaming with CC, when you've got the Destiny to ensure that your mid lane goes
There we
first.
go. There's the parallel conservative. It's just endless stuns. Soul doesn't have a chance in hell.
And they did
Shy
that
grabs
really
the kill.
badly and still
Yes,
did.
they did. They did.
Didn't even matter. Now, Spenu have a lot more numbers on the bottom side of the map. Mad Life shows up there, though. Can they answer with a Dragon to at least make CJ pay for a super sloppy turret?
I don't know. Mad Life and Space actually are forcing them off the objective. Shy still has CP. They can't do this, actually. Because even if Soul has CP, his ultimate is down. Yeah, that was actually very sloppy, as you were saying. They stacked the CC, number one, a little bit. You couldn't really tell because all of those stuns are so long. And then they didn't commit to the kill. They took a couple extra turret shots, and they didn't have to.
I mean, Trick, honestly, should have gone harder and then just ulted to drop aggro and get the heal. For some reason, he just walked out of turret range trying to hold on to that selfish cooldown. And then, you know, Coco hit a red card, then walked away. Like, it was really, really poor turret dive and didn't even matter.
No, certainly did not.
They have two people that can drop aggro between Maokai and the Echo, and they still managed to butcher it, Monte Cristo.
Oh, boy.
Well, Spenu are praying for late game. It got them 2 wins with Runglai Vesru before. It's certainly not out the window, but you feel like if you see 2 dragons stacked up for CJ, maybe this game already going to be a little bit out of reach for Spenu.
Yeah, this is... I mean, at what point do you really start to fight this? If you're Spenu and the dragons start getting out of control for CJ. Nice doubling down, getting a little bit wave clear there. Nearly clipping space.
The worst feeling when you're walking back to lane is taking 300 damage and be like, do I go back? I mean, late game, that's why Ezreal is so strong, is that you just throw out those ultimates haphazardly and cause recalls. And Soul can't even get anywhere near his turret, and that's the reality when you're facing Maokai.
Easy turret take. First one of the game down in favor of CJ Entis. Coco backing off as he sees Secret pop out of a brush on the bottom side of his lane. Now, just more movement through the enemy jungle. They're starting to ward up that top side. Still no movement on the dragon, so it looks like we're going to have a pretty late first dragon.
And I guess we can kind of turn around my point. You know, we're talking about 2 dragons down. Okay, how does Spenu get back in this game? If the second dragon's only being contested when we see another item or 2 on the Ezreal, you know, that's the one thing is when you start getting these neutrals going, that stops people from just infinitely scaling. It's why we don't see the Anivia store comps anymore, is that Baron and Dragon are such big win conditions.
I'm really thankful for that, Bobby Smith.
I mean, I'm so happy that every time someone picks Ziggs, they lose because Baron buff just ruins Ziggs' main, you know, he can't clear waves anymore. What can he do?
Whoop. Oh.
Yeah, take that, 200 damage. Pop that potion.
He sure showed Coco. Coco just going to red card his way to some more wave clear. Has fallen behind when it comes to CS, but only ever so slightly. And we're just waiting here for someone to make that first dragon move. Mad Life getting a couple hits onto nuclear, but nothing else to actually pop that stun.
I guess the safest thing CJ could do would be have Maokai push into the inner turret and then, you know, force inner turret damage, trade for teleporting over for Soul. But realistically, with all the lanes that they have and the Destiny backup, it's whenever they want it, CJ.
Right, and pushing forward, not really going to be too helpful if they want to follow up another gank onto the Rumble. Like you said, realistically, the best thing they can do is push up to tier 2 and then just have Maokai walk over to Dragon and then force a TP. But even then, it's not that big of a play in the long run. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Exhaust out on Assassin. There's a stun into a stun. Goodbye. Trick picks it up with the Time Winder. but very methodical. You can't. I mean, the concussive blows right into a gold card is pretty brutal.
But honestly, whenever I see a control mage like Victor, like Ezreal in those situations, I'm waiting for the cleanse. But when you got the smite, Monte Cristo, nothing you can do.
And there's the actual gold card on to catch. Now, Shy is over here. Even though he's going to have to flash for it, they will just get some more targeted CC. Shy pops the Maelstrom, and that is a kill over to CJ Entis. They're now 5-0 on that count, so very nice play there. Much cleaner than their first dive. Very calculated play. Madlife already deep in the enemy jungle was able just to box in Sasin and make sure they grabbed it. This turret's not going to last long, though. Lichbane already done for Coco, so it will fall.
And breaking the outer turret against the Ezreal only really has the ultimate for instant wave clear. It's not looking good for Spenu as they're going to start losing control over everything. We're watching them lose their blue buff right under their noses.
Without that blue buff, actually
nice
smited out. Nicely done. Was able to pick up the burst. Shy now, not really in trouble. He can't get out of this situation. Well, or can he? He doesn't have flash anymore, so he just kind of has to walk very slowly. But a missed Q and a missed harpoon will force the flash. He has to go on to Sasin, but there's no follow-up. So he's going to fall, hand the red buff to Sasin. And what can they get for it? Nothing really. Coco out of mana.
Amazing that the first dragon hasn't fallen. Nuclear, one stack of the Braum passive. Draws out a teleport, though.
No equalizer. Interesting. You try and make a play right here with Secret. True Shot Barrage going to go wide left of Space and Madlife. So they commit 4 people, or 3 people in an ultimate, rather, to the bottom, but don't really come away with anything besides keeping their turret up for the moment.
All Spenu have to be happy about is that 16 minutes in, very late first dragon going to be coming out this game. No dragon even started 16 minutes in.
Well, speak of the dragon.
Speak of the dragon.
Are going to pick it up here. No contest. Everyone already back for Spenu, so clean dragon attempt. Sasin can try to actually pull off a True Shot Barrage, but not going to decide to do so.
And that was safe to the point that they even knew the teleport was down from Sol, so they even had teleport advantage. So rudimentary to pick up the dragon. 16 minutes means that 5th dragon's going to be very late. Speculative ult, but no blue busting.
Yeah. Instead, Coco will take it. This composition is really interesting to me, Papa Smithy. We haven't really talked about this, but the meta is shifting. You and I were talking about this Twisted Fate earlier today. We're seeing it pop up more and more and more. He suffers when it comes to assassins, but when assassins are way down in the meta, TF inevitably makes his return because he has so much presence and utility. And that's what we're seeing right now. If you can safely pick the Twisted Fate, if you're not worried about a Fizz mid, and also, AP Fizz isn't as good as he used to be either. Still going to be solid against the TF because you can dodge the pick a card, but it's not as good as it once was.
Even that classic laning matchup isn't as good because if you miss the fish, you used to have immense kill pressure. Don't have any more. 2 teleports coming through. One of them, the Destiny.
Oh, and goodbye, Nuclear. No chance. CJ just playing this to a T. And when you have this much mobility, I mean, there's just so much you can do with this composition. With the Kog'Maw coming back against current AD laners, he has that dominant laning phase. You have so many options for crowd control with TF and Echo and Braum. You can block the poke composition. So, CJ, this is the composition we're going to be seeing more of in the future.
We see Catch taking 2 auto attacks, not going to get stunned up. I think it's one of those classic League of Legends, meta changes. When you have next patch going to be more sustained mid laners in terms of sustained damage with the Rylai's and Leandra's getting strong. Twisted Fate, Kog'Maw are always going to rise when assassins are out of the meta, and that's what we're seeing right in front of our eyes.
Yeah. And likely, too, we're not going to see that many meta shifts before Worlds, really. I think this AP itemization, I don't have any inside info, but I think this AP itemization is probably the last really big change we're going to see because Riot is very adamant about not making these huge changes immediately before the World Championship. And if you remember, especially last year, we came in to Worlds on the same patch for the same patch was there for 2 months. It was a really long time in the lead up and then during the month-long World Championship itself. And considering that is knocking on the door right now, we'll probably not see too many changes.
I just love the fact that the Kog'Maw picks in particular make so much sense with the last, say, 4 or 5 patch cycles. So when the Assassin meta was in, no Kog'Maw. Enough said, we understand that. Cinderhawk top laners, another wonderful way of dealing with a Kog'Maw and his lack of escape. They're out of the meta. No Shyvanas, no
Sejuani.
No Sejuani. All these champions keep getting pushed out of the meta, and suddenly backline threat just gets less and less prevalent. You know, that's why we see champions like Jace, champions like Ezreal, the poke meta we're talking about. Now we're going to see sustained damage mid laners. We're going to see the Rylai's, the Andrews mid laners. That's why people say, what about Graves? Maybe it's time for bursts to come from the AD carry role, because no one else is going to provide it. There's no LeBlanc anymore. Literally the mid lane assassin meta is the occasional Zed and the occasional Fizz.
Yeah, that's it. There's nothing left. Should be fun to see, though. You know, we're also talking, what about the Vel'Koz?
What about an excellently Andrews Rylai's user?
Yeah.
Brand? Can we dream about the mid lane Brand one time?
Yeah. Certainly possibilities coming forward.
And then do they need to buff LeBlanc to deal with these pesky control mages?
Hey, I'm okay with it. I love watching LeBlanc. I don't know what everybody else's problem is.
No LeBlanc, Montecristo. It's gone. It's gone. It's never coming back. It's probably coming back. Suspender just clearing their waves. Destiny's popped.
Uh-oh, here's the gate. Will it actually catch anybody? Soul is the target. Soul gets knocked around by the Arcane Smash, and that's it. Dies very quickly to the burst, but there's the oh man, the True Shot Barrage blocked by the Unbreakable, and now Trick just on the run. They do get Mad Life, but I mean, they still have to deal with the Kog'Maw on the bottom side, and they haven't really gotten any more control out of this laning phase.
So much CC. Those 4 members have just basically a permanent CC bar worth
disgusting.
of CC. I mean, when this is an Ezreal, we've mentioned the fact that as a control mage having to take Smite, you basically need a QSS, but you don't even have the damage to potentially work one into your build. So even the great AP Ezreal.
The answering teleport play, though. Soul looking for space there. He's going to get cooked. You are a cooked Void Worm. Barbecue.
What do you think it goes with a side of? Cooked Kog'Maw? With a side of
Kog'Maw.
what?
Koguma, which is sweet potatoes in Korean.
Oh,
Kog'Maw and Koguma, see? Works.
interesting. I didn't know that. Today I learned. The only sweet potato I see here is on my pizza. A lot of sweet potato pizza.
There's a lot of sweet potatoes in general. You can get them as street food, actually. They roast them for you. They're delicious. It is also good on pizza. That is one of the Korean standard...
No corn?
No corn. Koguma is okay.
Okay. I'll remember to ask that next time. Has Trick used his ultimate this game?
He did in the last dive.
All right.
To get out. When they went onto the Rumble, he used it.
It's not quite a Zed situation, because of course, just mostly using it for dropping aggro, whether it's CC or turret aggro respectively, but not have much cause for it. And unfortunately for Speno, this game has basically panned out as expected from the pick and ban.
Yeah, there's not much more to say. CJ just playing this pretty methodically. Maybe a bit of a reckless dive onto the Rumble where they've lost their pressure edge, but...
How reckless is it when you have so much targeted CC, though?
Like how Coco just gates right next to the rest of his team. No need to get in that back line just yet. He'll be happy kiting with that massive front line that he has. There's a great pulverize, though. And there's the Equalizer coming in after it. Mad Life gets the Glacial Fissure down, but Soul starts to stack up. That passive from Braum. Sasin gets some damage down, but they eventually take out the Alistar, and they're still pursuing. Heal used to catch Soul with a gold card, and now the Rumble will fall to the Focus Fire from the TF and the Kog'Maw.
In a different game, that would have been a game-winning headbutt pulverize, triple or quadra headbutt pulverize from Secret. Excellently layered equalizer, but with the gold disadvantage already that they find themselves in, just didn't do enough damage to CJ Enters.
Right. And it's also extra surprising that it didn't do damage because we don't even see an Aegis yet. You'd think that would be the key item that they would need to cut down on Spenu's damage, but...
Abyssal Scepter, Merc Tread, Spirit Visage,
Yeah,
like
fair
apart
enough.
from space, they actually have got a lot of selfish measures with their extra gold, but this is unbelievable engage. That's just like Wolf a couple of days ago. It layered it,
Beautiful.
but what did you notice? Mad Life blocked out the AP Ezreal ultimate.
Once again, And, I mean, the parallel convergence there, too, to keep secret. They turn on him for the kill once the Unbreakable Will goes down. And then look at the Summoner heal, just for the catch-up right there with the flash. Very nicely played.
And just CC for days is the CJ Entis mantra this particular game. And against an Ezreal, who we mentioned, cannot itemize in a QSS or take Summoner Cleanse. Sassen just can't put out the damage that his team needs, or they was able to the last 2 times out.
Okay, so after that, Baron is next up on the checklist for victory for CJ Entis. Divine Secret, the Ward, and a Winter's Bite.
So where's Sassen on the AP Ezreal spiraling out of control item build? He's got the core. What does he need?
I mean, at this point, now the Aegis is finished. Does he really have the necessary magic penetration to really make this work? He's decided to go, of course, for the cooldown boots this game because he needs that CDR, so he just is not running with any pen besides his runes and masteries.
And the most worrying thing for him is that, you know, Mad Life's on form, blocks that ultimate.
Yeah.
That's basically what? 60% of his damage potential gone.
Maybe 50%. Off of a full combo.
Sure. But it's still, like, his ult is the reason why he's so powerful.
Yes.
People saying, nerf AP Ezreal. No, the ult's always been good. It's just that laning phase wasn't possible. Laning phase has gotten better, but this particular comp deals with it oh so well.
They have to be worried about Coco's eventual ability just to get on top of Ezreal in the backline, too. That's just another form of shutdown that they have. They don't even have to necessarily get the Maokai. You just poured in with the TF. Looks like he's not going to be going for his Zonius anytime soon, so that won't be viable. But
And that's probably the most fun thing about casting a TF game is you can look at the item build and go, okay, this is what he wants to do with these items. If there's no Zhonya's, you're not porting on top of the enemy AD carry or the immobile or the squishy AP Ezreal. You're more playing the poke game. You're more playing the positioning-based game. So, yeah, I mean, with the Lich Bane early, haven't seen a lot of split pushing, but now it's really starting to hit top gear.
it is. So Coco still moving through the minion waves on his split pushing mission. Sassen assigned to the lane just to stop him. At least he has good wave clear now with that rune glaive. He can't match it.
Spano just kind of caught with maybe, you know, access to the Raptors at most. They don't really have much jungle control whatsoever, especially in the top side. And when you lose top side dragon control, Baron's a pretty trivial objective.
Coco stealing the Krugs, just salting the wound, as it were, as CJ will turn, actually. Gate used, and there we see the True Shot Barrage. Mad Life flashes, forces a flash of his own. Mad Life moving backwards right now. Coco did gate up into the top side of the mid lane, but CJ can't actually finish the Baron off of that.
Surprising to me that that was enough pressure to actually cause them to get off the Baron. I mean, they had the extra vision, they had the permanent vision for the 8 to 10 seconds of the gate, but still chose to back away, obviously respecting the potential damage coming through from the likes of the Equalizer.
Trick was very low, too. He had been tanking that Baron without Shy because Shy was still in the lane, in top lane, so they were trying to sneak it out. If they had Shy there, I think they probably would have gone back Shy earlier, that is. And now the death cap for Coco. He is a frontline killer this game. He just wants to kill the Rumble every time. And the Alistair.
Death cap for Coco.
Death cap for Coco.
If Dolan was here, he'd talk about one of his many emo rock bands.
That is a fantastic one.
I'd probably listen to their, their cover.
I would not.
No?
No.
Sad days. Emumu.
Maybe he'll play the Death Cap Emumu someday. We get another show match.
Tear into Death Cap Emumu.
Oh, fancy pathing there with the Rek'Sai tunnels. Gets him mostly out of the poke, even though he took the initial barrage. And CJ just really wants this Baron. They know how to finish this game. You get the Baron buff, you have the Kog'Maw, you have that huge amount of siege with the Lich Bane TF, and you take it home.
I mean, if you want to be super safe, third dragon spawning very soon. That's going to be largely uncontested from Spenu, so the extra movement speed might help if they kite away.
Oh,
but
Nuclear is just getting destroyed.
Everyone who walks up into auto attack range is getting destroyed.
I'm actually surprised they're splitting with the TF in the bottom side when Gate is more useful out of the top side.
That's fair.
And Maokai is more useful out of bottom with TP. That's a bit strange to me.
I guess the idea to me is you're going to draw someone that can effectively split push against Twisted Fate, and there's less collapse pressure onto the Baron, perhaps. But yeah, it's kind of pulling things from the ethers. The third dragon, easily taken by CJE.
The problem is that when you pull the Rumble down there, she has actually the global, so it could in fact be a 5v4 for Spenu for a brief period of time in top lane. That's why I don't like it.
That's fair. The defensive wards are good for Spenu. They just can't quite push them towards the Baron. I think one of the problems, honestly, for CJE
coming in. There's the gate. Coco threw a gold card at somebody, but it will stun catch on the opposite side of the wall.
The one thing I'm disappointed at, with only one sweeper, they just can't clear vision. They just haven't felt comfortable enough. The only way to do that is go back, spend 250 gold on your 2 sweeper members already, and start sweeping it out, because there's a lot of defensive vision creeping towards the Baron.
I mean, they should just bait the Baron and turn and fight right now. They have such a severe gold lead that it doesn't really matter if they take a little bit. Secret actually going in. There's the TP. Mad Life on the outside. Catch already chunked out of this fight. They will try to use the equalizer. That's not going to be enough, but it will be with the True Shot Barrage. Not blocked by Mad Life this time, but there is a huge parallel convergence, and Shy is here now. Shy is in the choke, CCing the entire team, and so they get Mad Life, but they trade 2 and then 3 members for it. Soul, Nuclear, and Secret all falling. That'll be a Baron.
And it was an even more calculated fight, Monte Cristo, because Sarsen had no mana. They've been spending so much time contesting that blue buff. No blue buff, couldn't refill the mana. Of course, Coco low, but has the blue card potential. And the Baron comes down to perhaps seal the win for CJE.
Yeah, they finally got it. Mad Life won't have it, but that is pretty inconsequential. Baron buff not going to do much for a support anyway. You see that they tried to get the speed up from the Summoner heal, but it didn't quite work. But look at that parallel convergence. Look how well CJ just cuts off the exit route with the Maokai right after the Echo W. Makes it very easy to clean up the fight.
And speaking of easy, Space took what? A Rage Pulverize from the basically dead Secret right at the end of the fight, and no other source of damage from anyone.
Space has been very well protected.
It's the reality of the Kog'Maws. You know, you don't see the Shyvanas, you don't see the Mundos, you don't see the champions that can kind of run and force Kog'Maw to make bad positioning moves. Maybe a bit of a surprise we don't even see the Jinx, because it feels like hyper carries. They're back in the meta.
Oh, nice block from Mad Life, but he gets it anyway. Sarsen. So saucy.
That was probably the most equal contest we'll see for the rest of this game. That was cool.
That was cool.
So even the AP Ezreal doesn't have the wave against his Baron buff minions. Lichbane, Twisted Fate pushing in with the Baron buff minions. Full court press from CJ as we see Kog'Maw pushing the top lane.
Yep, all the tier 2s falling in sequence right now. Soul gets ulted and just blown up. Echo ult to get out of that, but here comes the Coco from the flank. The Coco will just wreck Ezreal. What a huge amount of damage on that pick a card with the Lichbane.
That was pick a card Lichbane stack deck into an instant one-shot. Wow.
Impressive. It's like, how do you like one-shotting people now, Sarsen?
Feels bad, man.
There we go, Coco. Just keep on moving through, zoning out with his utility and his crowd control. Coco's going to get on, but there, not much hope. His Space is there to blow up catch him. CJE will take the last 2 games quite convincingly to complete this series 2-1 after falling down to Spenu with their sub-roster in the first game.
Yeah, the strategy of throwing in the Goon squad to try and pick up a win didn't work. 3 substitutes, certainly too many. Maybe 1 or 2 and they could have made it competitive, but credit to Spenu. Once again, that's 3 series in a row that they've won a game. It's just the moment that the real guys came in, the moment that the substitutes were out of the lineup, CJE just looked comfortable in both their victories.
Yeah, they did. Taking a look at this replay on our monitors right now, we're watching Sarsen's health bar off of
Stack
one
deck.
car. There's the stack deck. It was 4/5 of his health.
He has 600 health after that. And remember, this is a level 17 Ezreal.
584 health out of over 2,000, 2007.
So that was an auto attack that did
of his
1,500 damage auto attack.
And stunned him.
Are you sure that Twisted Fate's not the champion that Riot needs to look at?
Yeah, finished off with 1 wild card after. Wow. Well, that was